We are looking into the text called Thirukolur Penpillai Rahasyam, which is in Tamil. And this text has 81 sentences. They were spoken by a card seller in Thirukolur, and Thirukolur is in Tamil Nadu. We are in the 26th sentence. This sentence runs like this. Aval poriyai eendeno kuchelarai pole. Now we are entering a beautiful chapter in Bhagavatam. Kuchelo Pakyanam we say, and the story is just one line. Kuchela went to Lord Krishna to see him, and after he went back, he came out of poverty. This is the gist of the story. But the story has too many interesting points one will definitely would love to hear. Once upon a time, there was a Brahmin who was a great devotee of Krishna. In his young days, he had been the companion of Krishna in the Gurukul of Sandipani. Years had passed and they had not dealt kindly with him. In the sense, he was a man of simple tastes and he had no desires. He was always poor, but he was always satisfied with everything what he got. Never blamed fate or the gods for his poverty. He was very fortunate to have a wife who was similar to him in her qualities. She was very lean and she would only eat what was left after everybody ate. Constant fasting also had made her lean, but her face was always having the tranquility. In other words, I will say both of them were very much contented in their life. Once, however, she couldn't bear the suffering of her husband. So, with great hesitation, she comes near her husband and she says, "You have often told me that Krishna, the Lord of Dwarka, was once your playmate and friend. He is a great prince now. He is reputed to be very considerate. His spouse is goddess Lakshmi herself. So, will you be in a position to meet him and explain our situation?" This was the application. Sushila, her name is Kalyani. Somewhere it is mentioned as Sushila also. Kuchela's name is also Sudama. So Kalyani asked Sudama, "Why don't you go and meet the king in Dwarka?" Immediately, Sudama agrees to go because he has not seen his friend for a very long time. "I'll be very happy if I go there and I'll meet my friend after so many years. We can talk about the days of our boyhood and we are sure to enjoy the meeting." That was a thought which was running in his mind. Immediately he tells Kalyani, "Do you have anything in the house which I can take as gift? I cannot go empty handed." This gift also, with great difficulty, they managed. They didn't have anything much to give, but she went to 2-3 houses and she borrowed rice flakes or broken rice, we say, which is a favorite item of Krishna. She packed it in a cloth which was not at all neat. Whatever they had, they offered it to the Lord. So Sudama carries the rice flakes or beaten rice and he goes towards the place called Dwarka where Lord Krishna was the king. Even as he was thinking of Lord and meeting with him, Krishna, knowing that he was going to see him, it is told that he transported him by his Maya to Dwaraka in a very short time. As Krishna was seated in his place, and when he saw Sudama, he embraced him warmly. Actually, Sudama was feeling very miserable within himself because he was going to a royal house. Suppose the doorkeepers, if they don't allow him inside, how he can announce himself? Look at his dress and look at his body structure. And then he was almost looking like a beggar. These were all the thoughts which were going in his mind. I mean, this story, Kuchela Pakanam, is a mind changing or mind blowing anecdote in Bhagavatam. I would always feel whenever I read this. When this kind of a situation happens in our life, suddenly our friend had become very famous or they have become financially very strong. Suppose we meet, what would be the inner motives or what would be the thoughts? Same thing was depicted in Bhagavatam also. But contrary to what Sudama thought, Krishna welcomed him with open arms and he had in fact tears in his eyes. And Sudama was also weeping openly with the joy of reunion. Krishna took both his hands in his own and led him to a seat which he had been using. He washed the feet. In fact, in many households, when we observe, when husband's friends come, the wife will go inside. But here, Krishna and Rukmini, both of them, washed his feet. In fact, Rukmini she fanned with her hand using the feathers of peacock. The people in the apartments who were watching Krishna and the poor, that poor man was all skin and bone. His clothes were old, dirty, and torn in several places. And the Lord of Lords washed his feet and took the water on his head as though it were some tirtha. How fortunate this man! That was a thought which was passing through the minds of those who were standing by. Then they both sat together and they went on talking about their days in Gurukulam. Do you remember? Was the question. Both of them were talking and they were remembering their Gurukulam days, and there are couple of instances which they were narrating to each other. I am skipping. Maybe later on when I start Bhagavatam, I am planning to give in detail incidents. Just now, Thirukolur Penpillai scope I am seeing, so I am brushing aside some of the other details also. Next sentence would be, my dear friend, what have you brought for me from your home? Sudama was silent. He was feeling ashamed of the tiny bundle of cloth which held the beaten rice. But Krishna would not let him change the subject. You have brought me something very simple, I think. That's the reason why you are not opening the gift. He says, do you know that what is given to me with love and bhakti is very dear? Even though it is a small gift, smaller than an atom, a gift which is not accompanied by bhakti will never please me. Sudama, let it be a flower, a leaf, a fruit, or even a drop of water. If it is offered to me with bhakti by one whose mind is pure and is without sin, that is what is dear to me, and I'll accept it with love. Give me what you have brought. These sentences will definitely touch the hearts of people who, because of poverty, are not able to offer to God. But definitely, bhakti is more important than the material objects which you are offering to God. This point is evidently explained in this para in Bhagavatam. Now, my feeling was the same when I read this, how God accepted his bhakti more than the rice flakes what he had brought. In fact, when he opened, there was little dust also in that. That is another. It was not proper at all, in the sense that even the gift what he had taken, that was a very small item. That was also not okay. But still, Krishna spoke the above sentences. My sister has sent me something which you do not want to give me, but I will open the bundle, he said. And he opened the bundle, and then she didn't have time even to clean it. The wife of Sudama did not have time even to clean it. So, this beaten rice is a favorite of mine. Saying so, Krishna ate it. Now, in all these instances, not even once Sudama asked Krishna for any favor, nor he told him about his poverty. They both left each other, in the sense Sudama left towards his destination, and Krishna and his wife prostrated before Sudama, and then Sudama took leave of them. He was feeling very ashamed even to think of the reason for his coming to Dwaraka. This was how Sudama felt. He felt very happy that there was no occasion for him to ask Krishna for anything. With this mind in the backdrop, he was going towards his house. When he was approaching his house, he was attracted by the sight of beautiful mansion which was seen from a distance. He thought for a moment whether he has forgotten the road. But even the neighbors, he was thinking, I have not seen this kind of a thing. Am I absent minded? What happened to my neighbors? I mean, he was totally confused. But then, having come back to Dwarka, he is asking himself. But then he understood that it was his house, because his wife came out and then she was looking so beautiful, like a woman from the heavens. He entered his house, which was like the mansion of Indra. He stood silent when his eyes when his eyes took a glance of what was happening in front of him. It is a good fortune of having seen the Lord, which has blessed me with so much of wealth. Even though I didn't ask Krishna anything, he has given me so much. This was the feeling Sudama had. And then both Sudama and his wife felt very grateful to the Lord. They lived happily with their minds full of thoughts of Krishna towards the end. So the story ended like this. And then Thirukolur Penpillai says, I didn't give this rice flakes like Kuchela to the Lord. Saying so, she says, I am not competent to stay here, hence I am leaving.